When it comes to dressing for the workplace, we're typically looking to tick 3 boxes. We're going to keep it very, very simple. At least on this channel, we're going to look to tick these 3 boxes. Number 1 is ensuring that we are stylish. We're not basic, okay? If you're here on this video, it's because you want to know how to make your basic outfit a little bit more personal. You want to understand different ways that you can incorporate your style, your personal style into your corporate dress without, number 2, without breaking HR rules. You want to make sure that we are HR compliant, because Janice at HR, she's been having a rough last few months, and she's looking for her next victim, and we don't want that victim to be you. Especially if you just started this job and you're new, we definitely don't want to end up on Janice's naughty list. So we want to make sure that our clothes are HR compliant. We're not too out there and we're not too expressive, and we're ensuring that yes, we're stylish and we're cool at work in terms of our look and we're the best dressed there, but we're not making ourselves a target, if you know what I mean. Janice at HR, we love you. The next thing that we want to do here is we want to ensure that we're professional. We want to make sure that, let's say it's a leadership role, then people are taking us seriously. We want to be that cool team leader that is stylish, that has this esoteric approach to themselves and this mystique and this aura that makes your team's morale go up higher. Okay, this is what we want to do. This is the effect that we're looking for. If those are things that are interesting to you, then this is the video for you. And bear in mind, this is going to be from more of a creative and I guess a little bit more of an audacious standpoint. There's no way I can cover every single job in the book or cover every single work environment in the book in this one video. So take what works for you and leave the rest, and just make sure that you distill this information. I'm going to give you the raw goods, and then you're just going to go away and distill it and work in a way that suits your particular workplace. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start somewhere that we can all kind of, I guess, agree on, some sort of middle ground. A very reasonable approach to a work closet or a work outfit is to incorporate high-low dressing. What is high-low dressing? Well, depending on how you look at it, it can be mixing in luxury items and higher price premium designer items with more high streets, or it can be mixing things like formal wear with more casual wear. You know, your typical suits, your slacks, your blazers, your shirts, your tailoring, and mixing that with more comfort pieces like jeans, denim. Shorts can be done as well. Shorts can be done. And the great thing about high-low dressing is it allows us to have that elegance in our outfits and that kind of like refinement, but also still be comfortable, because it's all great if we look very snazzy and we look very put together, but if it's not comfortable, then it's not really, we've missed the mark if it's not comfortable. We have to be comfortable as well, but not too comfortable, you know, not too comfortable. Somewhere in the middle. I think one of the most important things to keep in mind is with high-low, the priority here is unfussiness, okay, or unfussy layers or any unfussy pieces, things that don't make you like pull on your clothes or have to really adjust it too much. It's fusing in those everyday pieces that you would wear, like your jeans, like I mentioned, or like those boots in your closet, with those higher priced, more premium, more refined pieces to get that chic look. The Italians would call it sprezzatura. For me, the real advantage for high-low dressing is the avenue it provides for going into our motifs and accessories. Because with high-low dressing, we're typically bringing together those basics and maybe a couple of statement pieces, like, you know, a funnel neck jacket that's a little bit more audacious or interesting, or a sport coat, for example, that's a little bit more maybe a little bit more fancy, and mixing it together with those more relaxed pieces. And the silhouette will be more simple in this way, but what it does is it opens the door for us to play around with other motifs in our accessories. It allows us to wear maybe more interesting earrings. It allows us to play around with the amount of rings that we wear as well, maybe more jewelry, also different bags, the leather bags, nice big leather belts. And I feel like this is a perfect strategy, especially for these stricter office environments. Maybe if you work in somewhere like law or you work in finance, it can be a little bit, and it's very, very corporate law or corporate finance, the rules are a little bit more strict. You know, what you can really do and how you dress can be a little bit more, you know, the guardrails are there a little bit more. So the accessories are where you will typically express yourself. And since we're here on the topic of accessories, we can talk about work bags. Some of my favorite work bags are work bags that have a different shape, an interesting shape, but also have that utility and practicality as well. I think one bag that comes to mind is the LV Lockman shopper bag. It's devoid of any of the typical LV monograms, so you're not like being outwardly flashy with your bag, but you're also still being stylish. And I think with this bag, there's a lot of space there as well. So it's very practical for the everyday. If you're someone that has, you know, a laptop, maybe you're bringing some folders or notebooks, you've got loads of space. Another very underrated bag that I really, really like is the Acne Studios Camaro bag. It has that like 1970s briefcase sort of look, but it's not a briefcase. I feel like when it comes to the briefcase, it can be very hit or miss with the briefcase because it's such a typical and classic workplace bag. Sometimes it just looks a little bit too on the nose, you know? And I feel like the Acne Studios Camaro bag is a great option, especially because it has that structure in the shape. I think that's another really important aspect for a nice work bag, is making sure that it keeps that structure. So I don't know, if you have your lunch in there, or you have your, you know, you have your laptop or whatever, it keeps the shape. And also it has different compartments as well, so you can store different items. And also I feel like, especially when it comes to men, you do want to have the option of wearing your bag on the shoulder or crossbody, or having the option to carry it. This is a no backpack channel. When it comes to work bags, we are anti backpacks. We don't do backpacks over here. It's so hard to complement your outfit, your work outfit, with a backpack. You know, we've got to switch that out, and we got to go for something a little bit more interesting, something that we can carry or something that we can sling over the shoulder that doesn't ruin our outfit. I just feel like when it comes to wearing a backpack, like when I think of a backpack, I instantly think of the intern. I just think of the intern. It just gives intern. Maybe we are an intern, which, congratulations if you did get an internship. Congratulations to you. But we want to dress for the position that we want, right? And the position that we want, that person does not carry a backpack. They probably have, you know, a nice little shoulder bag. I think the Le Merrick gear bag is also a great option for the men in particular. This bag has a really nice shape. It also has a lot of compartments. It's very spacious as well. I think Xenia weekend bag is a great option. The Cabas bag by Phoebe Philo, another great option. So these don't have to be the exact bags that you get, but I just want to give some inspiration for shapes and styles of bags that you can look for that'll actually be practical for your day-to-day. So if you like these bags in particular, I mean, go find them, whether it's direct or whether it's secondhand. You know, whether you're looking for similar styles or shapes, there's so many bags that you can get. If you're someone that's incorporating high-low and you have that simple look to your outfit, then your accessories, your glasses, your bags, your jewelry, incorporating a brooch is where you'll be able to show your personality and really express yourself, especially when it comes to those more stricter office environments. I do want to talk a little bit about footwear. I think one thing that we can all, again, really agree on here is that loafers will probably be your best friend for a corporate environment, because loafers are professional, they are very formal as well, and they work with pretty much anything. They work with any outfit, any look. So I think one of the styles that everyone really loves at the moment is the Row. What is it? I think the Row have a version of these. Saint Laurent have a version of these shoes. Dries have a version of these shoes. Everyone has a version of these shoes. It's those loafers with like the ridges around it. I don't even know how to describe it, but I'll put it up on the screen. I think that's a really good option for loafers. I also think another great option for shoes, especially if you're looking for something more casual, is a flat sneaker. The flat sneaker by Prada or Dries are great options. There's certain trainers that I definitely just wouldn't go for, because I feel like it just I feel like it creates too much of an imbalance with the outfit. Sometimes it can be a little bit too casual, in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't go for a Samba, or I wouldn't go for the I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's like a New Balance shoe that has like this, like the very square cut at the back of the shoe. I don't know what version it is, but I'll put it up on screen. Like a flat sneaker, for example. I feel like that is a little bit more refined and elegant, and it's also a shoe that is not like, the shape isn't so distinctive, you know? I feel like going for something that's too recognizable, it takes away from the rest of your outfit, especially in a corporate setting or a work setting. So going for a shoe that has that plain pared back silhouette like a flat sneaker is a great option. If you are someone that's not so comfortable with a flat sneaker and maybe you do want to wear something that's a little bit more elevated, I feel like a great option to go for is maybe like Vans is a great option also. Like a black, like the classic Vans. I think that's a really, really good option as well. But Vans can also be flat. I think for some people, some people need like more of a support. If this is the case for you, then I would probably recommend, instead of a trainer or a sneaker, to go for a derby. If you want that heel or that height or that structure, a little bit more structure in there, then you can kind of like upgrade a little bit more. And if we want to just take it a step further and we're talking about more formal shoe options for the men and women who wear Oxfords in particular, invest in your Oxfords, because there's a clear quality difference between Oxfords that are from the high street and Oxfords that are from a shoemaker. I think Paraboot is a great option. You can get like a great mock toe from Paraboot. You can also find great Oxfords from Paraboot. Barker have great shoes. Crockett and Jones have great pairs of shoes. It's definitely worth trying to invest a little bit more or stretch your budget a little bit more if you can in the shoe department, because let's say the rest of your outfit is a little bit more simple and you are incorporating that high-low styling strategy. If the rest of your outfit and the silhouette is simple and you have a shoe that is very well made, it just brings your outfit together perfectly. So don't skimp out on the shoe department, okay? Really take time to invest in the shoes. A little bit more on the psychological side, I want to talk about power dressing. This section on power dressing comes in tandem with authority and leadership. So if you're someone that is in a leadership position, I think the way that you dress is so crucial to not just how you approach your own role and your own job, but how your team and the people that you work with perceive you as well. And I think how you dress plays such a significant factor in that dynamic at work. So it's so important that we take time to sit down and ensure that we're getting that right for ourselves and for our own particular situations. Again, this is not, I cannot address every single job out there. So really try and take the points that work for you and distill it and utilize it in your own way. The concept that we're focusing on here is called enclothed cognition. Enclothed cognition is the understanding that how we dress influences our thoughts and our confidence and our perceptions and our feelings. As time has progressed, fashion and the workplace has really had this like back and forth relationship. You know, it's been, you know, we went from women wearing skirts at work, for example, to wearing trousers and pants a lot more often. And then we also went from men being very formal in the workplace to, you know, a Silicon Valley tech boom in the early 2000s that brought in this wave of informal wear and very casual wear that we can associate with companies like Google, companies like Apple, and other startups that have, you know, you think of flip-flops and you think of people wearing shorts to the office, and this is a real thing. A lot of offices do have that very informal approach to dressing. Coming out of COVID, the whole work from home thing, you know, people were taking Zoom calls with the shirt with, you know, a very formal top and maybe not even wearing any trousers, or some people were camera off in the PJs. It went back to very, very informal. And then coming out of the pandemic, I think we still have elements of that element of people wanting to be casual. I think that's slowly changing and we're moving back to people wanting to dress up again. So it's very kind of like back and forth. I think with offices going away from remote and even hybrid in a lot of cases and going to full-time in the office, full-time on-site, there's a little bit more of a focus on dressing with a little bit more polish. So when it comes to bower dressing, let's take for example women in male fields, or let's take for example younger leaders in roles that typically have older age groups. In these positions, a lot of times you can be faced with prejudice, you can be faced with bias, and you can be faced with situations where people may not think you're fit for your role, even if you have all the qualifications and you have all the competence. So in these situations, we can really seek refuge in our wardrobe and ensure that the way that we dress at least gives us the confidence to approach our positions and approach these situations with more assurance, I guess, at least in ourselves. And hopefully that assurance in ourselves through how we're dressed can then translate into a better reception from the people that we're communicating with, if you catch my drift here. One of those things is power dressing. When we're talking about power dressing, we're looking at, first of all, the shoulders. That's the classic one that we're looking at, the shoulders, okay? Because what that does, especially when we're talking about women's wear, is that very 80s shoulder suit style that we see in series like Mad Men, for example, or that we see in series like Scandal with Kerry Washington, or if we look at the likes of Jessica Pearson in Suits, these are women who exert dominance. They're not to be messed with, they're not to be played with. These are women who are assertive. These are women who are at the top of their game in the corporate environment. And when we look at their fashion, there's so much to take away. What we see as a common theme in their looks is this power dressing. Very strong shoulders, an emphasis on suiting, an emphasis on tailoring, and taking those traditional masculine cues from the 80s and incorporating it into their own style, into the style for a woman. And we're going for pants with structure, we're going for tailoring, and we're going for materials that provide us with that structure. And we can still incorporate that femininity into our outfits here, but we're also taking a lot of those masculine cues. And that combination really creates a presence, a very powerful presence. Another element that I like in this kind of like category is the square toe. Very masculine coded, it's very traditional, but it's also a little bit of a quirky shoe style that we don't see a lot of today. And I feel like a square toe with a feminine style or with feminine dressing really, again, adds to that presence. And that's something that you can look to explore more of in your dressing if that is a role or a place that you're at in your corporate career. Another very classic office pattern that I absolutely love is the pinstripe. The pinstripe for me is one of those, like, okay, if I have that groundbreaking presentation that is like do or die, or I'm meeting a very important client, you best believe I'm pulling out the pinstripes. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I think of pinstripes, like instantly what comes into my head is like Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. And I know we're not talking about all the crazy things that he did, but there was a lot of fashion in the Wolf of Wall Street. And one thing's for sure, minus all the shady things that Jordan Belfort did, he was a leader and he was an influencer in the corporate world in Wall Street. And one style that he always wore to support my argument is the pinstripe. That classic pinstripe, navy pinstripe with the red tie with polka dots, that's undefeated. I guess in this case, for the men and women out there, we don't have to wear a full pinstripe suit. Maybe in some cases that might be too much, but even just a pinstripe shirt or a pinstripe tie or a pinstripe shirt and pinstripe tie with more simple bottoms and a loafer. So guys, that is it for today's video on fashion for corporate people. I really hope that you enjoyed. If there's anything that I missed, please leave it down in the comments. Help your fellow corporate boys and girlies to be more stylish and successful in the office. If there's anything that is not fashion specific, leave it down below. You know, maybe some people have gotten some new jobs or some new promotions and they need some morale boost, and that's what we're here to do. So leave it down in the comments. If you did enjoy today's video, please leave a like, subscribe for more videos just like this. Also follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my Substack. And apart from that, I'll see you guys very, very soon. All the best.